If you want to release the creative potential that is in using a virtual production stage, then you have to have the conversation before those shots actually get written out of the manuscript, which very often happens when they appear to be too expensive for the budgets that you have available.
I mean, as a producer, how do you use this? What does the ecosystem needs to know? How do you use this, so to speak?
I think people use this tool very differently for previs or for actual production. But I think the fact that you have the line producers, for instance, there's a knowledge gap. So from me being the COO in the company, initializing, making the decisions, because I know the effects of what virtual production can be for our budget or for the creative outcome. But I need my producers to have have those skills, so they are comfortable making those decisions themselves. They need to know and be able to stand by the decision. And I mean, we've seen that there are so many educational opportunities now, but I think timing is really essential. Meeting producers and creatives, either you're a writer or director, at the right time. It has to be early enough in development. It's like a little seed, because you don't want to start learning a new tool when you have a deadline in 3 months. There's no time for that then, and you're not susceptible. And that also affects the way you finance your projects.
Exactly.
I really think that the development investment part has to come so much earlier, match the workflow, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're so right. We used to say, let's fix it in post, and right now it's more, let's fix it in pre. And what you were saying is 100% correct. As a VP stage, and I have a team, we can do everything basically. We want to be involved at the inception of an idea already. Basically, get us involved as soon as you can, because we all need to understand and decipher whether or not it's the right tool for the right job, and what the right tool for the right job may be, and what VP route is the right tool for your production, and how we can help the storytelling, because in the end that's what we're all about, right?
Yeah, and then there's always that challenge between you have a writer and a director who are very sensitive to when you let someone into your process, because you want to really protect your creative space. So going to a studio in a very early stage of your project, it's like a gentle massage to bring yourself there, and it really has to do with trust. But I think it's so crucial that these creatives get those skills, because if they're in charge, if you have a director and a writer and a production designer who feel that this is my tool, that's when they're capable of taking those decisions and bringing them, and because then they can be a conversation partner for you in the studio.
Yeah. First Emma, and then we will have Rikke, and then we'll you back, Nils. Sorry, yeah.
I don't know if the panel would agree with you, but agree with me. But I think the easiest route, I think, into trying out VP, and you'll notice on nearly every film you've seen, there's been a car or a vehicle involved, and actually, it is a fantastic technology for driving shots. If you want one low-hanging fruit, you don't have to stay up all night. You don't have to let 3 people go off on a low loader and you never see what they've got until they bring it back. You don't have to do terrible hours with young children, whatever it may be. And actually getting the assets for most driving shots, they're freely available on the internet. It's really easy. So just getting driving plates. And I would say if you've got sequences with a lot of driving shots, it's a really easy way in. I don't know if you guys would agree, to just test some of the stuff.
Right. Rikke, please.
I just want to say I also really agree with the getting in early on the projects. I mean, we spend our time reading an awful lot of manuscripts, and we do that because if you're operating on tight budgets, then if you want to release the creative potential that is in using a virtual production stage, then you have to have the conversation before those shots actually get written out of the manuscript, which very often happens when they appear to be too expensive for the budgets that you have available. And many of the things that weren't possible before are actually possible now. So it's a really good creative conversation to have with the stage or the VFX house that you are using.
What do funders, producers, studios, policymakers, everyone there need to know to understand the business, to fund the business, to finance the business, but also to manage the business? What is that what you would do in this last round of question? What is it what you want them to, what you would like them to know? What would you like to tell them and say, like, you need to know this? Can we do a quick round to finish before I open up for questions? Rikke, let's go.
Well, I mean, I firmly believe that virtual production is here to stay. I don't think it's going to be a temporary thing that's that we are not going to be talking about in the next couple of years. So I think it's a matter of get on the bandwagon and accept that things are going to change in the way films are being produced, and then try it out, make it work for the projects that you have. Find the right projects that can benefit from the use, and talk to the people that can guide you in the process. But I think that the resistance from that, I think both Anna and I have spoken a lot about, that the resistance that's out there in terms of trying it out has to be overcome. And I hope that the different schools, the new generation, that they are going to be informed about the possibilities that exist. And we have a lot of education that we're also doing both on the stage in Copenhagen and also with the Danish Film School to get more people aware of what exists of possibilities.
That's good. Yeah, thank you. Anna?
I don't think there's a virtual production business. It's the film business. So it's just a transition into including that kind of pipeline into the already existing funding mechanisms. It just needs to be adapted, not only for virtual production and the workflow.
Okay.
It's not separate.
Nils?
I tend to agree again. Get your hands dirty, start doing it, book a demo session at your local stage, feel, smell, and get used to the idea of that might be a area where you're going to spend a couple of days in, and get help from people who do know.
Yeah.
It's a very open community. People are very willing to share information with each other. And in terms of funds, I sincerely hope that at one point we will reach a European law rather than country by country law with this current red race going on with plus 2% here, etc., and that ICVFX actually becomes a separate funding or part of the funding.
Yeah, I mean, there is no specific funding for virtual production so far, so that's the thing that we have. And when everything is changing and moving, then the old system suddenly doesn't fit anymore, and this is one of the biggest challenges we have.
It doesn't traditionally fall under visual effects. It doesn't. It's not economical. It's not cultural. It's something new, and we all need to adapt to this. And that's why, I think that it's important that everybody starts understanding that it is here to stay. But because it is a new tool, or it's an old tool with new technology in the toolbox of filmmakers for everybody.
Absolutely. Very good one.
And I suppose I would say, from my skills point of view, is you saw on the map all those studios, all those volumes that are popping up all over the UK and certainly all over the US and the world. They're great, but if you haven't got the people trained up to work in them, they are just, as my colleague says, posh sheds. So I would say really, really invest in your self-training. There's so much out there, so much for free. All the games engines, most of as the guy from before said, you can download Unreal, you can play around. You know, Disguise is fantastic. We fund training. We're lucky in the UK. We have a model where the productions will pay into ScreenSkills. We use that money to deliver training out again. But again, it's hard. You've got to find those people. And I did a thing where we get the studios now to open their doors for a day and let groups of people, producers, directors, DOPs, whatever, come in and muck about for a day. They want it because it's bookings for their studios. So it's a win-win. So if you have any chance to do that sort of thing, go and do it, because I call that thing seeing is believing. And it's true, you can watch all the videos in the world that you want, but when you walk onto a volume and you see how the frostrum works for the first time, you go, now I get it.
Yeah. Okay, now or never, that's it. They have to do it now or never. Earlier is better.
Yeah,
but
and it's out there.
Also.
It's out there for free on the internet doing things. And if any of your kids say we want to get into gaming, and you say no, I want you to be a doctor. No, get on the game boxes, learn Unreal, do all that, learn to code. That's the way forward.
Okay, great. So I recap before we open to questions. What they need to know is vocabulary, new timing, new processes, maybe new priorities. Why do you need to start earlier, so to speak? And what does it cost, obviously?